Why do you hate her?
What do you mean?
Regina, you seem to really hate her.
Yes. What's your question?
Well, my question is, why?
16 seasons in, and we have seen the breakdown of 2 marriages of Kody Brown. Today, I really need to talk about just how differently he has treated his, I guess you could say romantic uncoupling of Mary and Christine. These 2 women have been treated very differently by Kody. In regards to his relationship with Mary, he seems to be really conscious of his word choice. On the other hand, when it comes to Christine, Kody seems to talk with a lot of vitriol, with a lot of anger and resentment, and I just find there's this really stark difference. It's actually been years that Kody has been on this sort of campaign of humiliation against Christine, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Now, I want to make it clear, I am not saying that Kody has done right by Mary in any way, but he does seem to have less of a vendetta against her. There's probably several reasons for that, one being monetarily. I want to take you back to when the catfishing incident occurred and the family was still dealing with the fallout, and Leo and Mary were not on good terms, and Kody tried to broker peace between them.
I need to make it clear to Mariah that it's not as serious as she thinks it is.
I spent the entire summer telling her that she was being catfished and she wouldn't listen to me.
Mariah probably doesn't understand the nuances of the entire experience. She probably doesn't understand at all, other than somehow or another her mom was struggled with fidelity. I have a hard time being mad at her myself because our relationship was so bad that we weren't spending time together. She was lonely. She was alone. Well, then what do you think, what more could happen?
I think she felt more than she's letting on.
All we do here is alienate Mary by saying these things. And what we really want to do is bring her back into the family safely.
Sometimes talking to her is like the hardest thing I do for a day.
You're holding a grudge on something that, I'm sitting here with Mom and I think I was angry at times, but I kind of felt like I was the catalyst. Mary is culpable on a level, but because of what's happened, we're all somewhat culpable. I'm culpable.
The difference I see, and it's been there from the beginning, I think he just flat out doesn't like Christine. And you think about it objectively, Mary was the one who acted upon her discontent in her marriage. And you can say Mary was targeted. You can say that their version of polygamy is inherently unfair. You can say Kody's an asshole. All those things can be true, but Mary was the one who acted upon it. And something I have always commented on and noticed is that the amount of accountability that Mary takes for the catfishing incident is pretty much zero. She doesn't take any accountability. But what has Christine done to garner so much vitriol from Kody? She discussed her marital problems with her sister wives, namely Janelle, and Kody views this as a unforgivable act of betrayal.
Mary made mistakes, but she was targeted by an evil person who had a specific agenda in mind. Mary didn't have a specific agenda in mind other than making friends. She's been telling wives and adult children that she's wanted to leave me for years. She tells me nothing special happens in our room. Well, that's because she's murdered our intimacy with betrayal.
Kody seems to really be talking out both sides of his mouth when it comes to Christine and what he expects of her behavior, and I'm going to touch on her behavior in just a second. On the one hand, she has literally betrayed Kody by talking about her marital problems with her sister wives.
Well, that's because she's murdered our intimacy with betrayal.
But then on the other side, she's never tried to have a relationship with any of these women.
You never tried to have a really good relationship with these other people. And that's the reason I'm pissed off.
Obviously, what that really means is that Christine wasn't trying to be besties with Robin. Mary is a loyal Robinite, and Kody just doesn't seem to hold Janelle to the same standards. Probably because Janelle just is literally unbothered by the gossip. I think she probably had her fill in the early days with Mary. What really set Kody off about Christine? This goes all the way back to before they were even married. In their book, national bestseller, Becoming Sister Wives, An Unconventional Marriage, Christine and Kody both describe how Christine had a big crush on Kody before they were married, how she was absolutely enamored with him. However, this was pretty soon after Mary and Kody got married, and they just weren't ready to court a sister wife. But even early on, like before they are even husband and wife, Kody feels the need to embarrass Christine. You know, we have to talk about the nacho incident. Here's what Kody says in their book. Looking back, I hate myself for the thoughts I had at that moment, but the sight of this chubby girl in my car devouring chili cheese nachos for breakfast put the brakes on our relationship. It brought out the most superficial and shallowest side of me. I still liked her. In fact, I liked her very much, but the nacho experience cooled my attraction a little. Well, a lot. And here is Kody recounting the same incident years later.
Kody, there was a chili nacho cheese incident that nearly derailed this courtship.
I know, he was so silly.
Did you even realize
that? Pull down any relationship, please. Me wolfing down nachos, come on.
Kody wrote, Christine was the cutest girl in the world, although she was a little chubby.
I was pretty chubby.
But does size matter to you, Kody? I mean, were you grossed out by, you said she was chubby and she was eating the nacho cheese?
I will be honest, I was not attracted to Christine in any kind of physical sense.
So you were not physically attracted to Christine?
That's an understatement.
He goes to such great lengths to get his point across that he was absolutely repulsed by Christine. But, you know, eventually he was able to move past that. And he was able to marry the chubby girl who ate chili cheese nachos from the gas station. Give this man an award. This story never needed to be told, in my opinion. Kody never needed to clue Christine into the inner workings of his mind in that moment. And he certainly did not need to memorialize that in a book and then again on national television. Christine and Kody have 6 kids together. I mean, he acknowledges that in the interview. This serves no purpose in recounting the early years or your early courtship of Christine except to embarrass her. Kody wants to come off as this like benevolent polygamist who lowered his standards to marry Christine. The only thing accomplished by telling this story is Kody was conditioning Christine from the very beginning to feel lucky that he deigned to be with her. So understandably, it took her a long time, 25 years, to demand basic common decency from Kody. Fast forward 25 plus years, and the humiliation continues. Like I said, while I certainly do not think Kody has done right by Mary, her romantic uncoupling from Kody has gone very differently, and it has been considerably less hostile. Kody mostly regards his relationship with Mary as sad. He maintains he will never divorce her. All of us watching wish Mary would leave him, of course, but at least Kody doesn't seem to be vengeful towards Mary. He actually gives Mary the courtesy of talking to her about the status of their non-romantic relationship and the fact that it's not going to be ever romantic again. He gives her the courtesy of talking to her about that alone with only her and not with the other sister wives as an audience. This is a courtesy he did not extend to Christine. The outburst that Kody has in season 17 is so alarming.
You never tried to have a really good relationship with these other people. And that's the reason I'm pissed off. Man! Just the knife in the kidneys over all these years. Sacrifices that I made to love you.
Doing this in front of an audience, in front of Christine's fellow sister wives, I mean, they're all supposed to be equals here. It only serves to embarrass her, invalidate her feelings, and put her down. And he actually takes it a step further when they have what TLC is titling the conversation. In this conversation, he completely gaslights her.
If it was over, like if our intimate part of our marriage was over, you said it was over.
No, I just shrugged my shoulders. I didn't tell you it was over.
You said that you were not attracted to me and we would
Christine,
not have an intimate
I
marriage.
didn't use those words at all.
She had been telling family members that she was wanting to leave me. She hasn't been talking to me. I shrugged my shoulders because I'm not going to be fooling around with a woman who's talking about leaving me.
He didn't just shrug his shoulders. I mean, can you imagine? It was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life.
Making her doubt her own recollection of the conversation and completely invalidating Christine's feelings. And Christine calls this humiliating. And you know what? Good for her. Look, we all know that the kindest thing Kody could do for any of his wives that he's no longer interested in being intimate or romantic with is set them free. Divorce them so that they can seek companionship that is fulfilling to them. Let them be with someone that is going to value their company. With that being said, at least he flat out told Mary the romantic stuff, the intimate stuff, never gonna happen again. Robin might call that a door, but Kody pretty much said never gonna happen. But with Christine, he makes intimacy and romance contingent on her behavior. This is super gross and very bizarre. Withholding intimacy as a form of punishment is emotional abuse. I have noticed that with the most recent teaser that TLC has put out, they feature Christine first, then Kody, then Robin, then Mary, then Janelle. It seems to be very obvious that Christine is now the focal point of the show, and I just don't know how Kody is going to be able to handle that. It should be very interesting come season 17, which is less than 2 weeks away. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.